Can you hear it? It's the lonely sound of a beating heart. And it's mine. For tonight, I am alone. They say that your brain protects your heart until your heart is ready to go out and venture out on its own. It's also said that love or loneliness or love or lack of love can drive you crazy. And I need to try and liberate myself tonight from my inner critic to see if I am going crazy, because I'm just feeling so alone. I feel scared being here. I feel, I could be judged. I need to be real. I need to be vulnerable. That's what I'm doing here tonight. Tonight I'm putting out my observations, feeling, thoughts, and emotions to the universe. I'm putting my faith in the future. Growing up, I thought I came from a pretty traditional family. I had brothers and sisters, had a dog. We all got along together. Parents, mom and dad. I grew up in a house of love. That's the way I remember it. My dad was pretty traditional. One house, one car, one wife. Felt traditional, felt normal. I wanted to be just like him. I looked up to him. He was my protector. Who doesn't need a protector? He was a model of stability and a man who I wanted to be just like. That was not meant to be, though. Then, speaking of protectors, there was my mother. She had a way of always making things right. She not only told me she loved me, she told me she liked me, always, and that meant a lot to me. And one day I was going to marry a woman just like her, just like Mom. I wasn't sure of many things in life, but the one thing I was sure of was love. Love was such a concept, or what I had seen about it, I thought, I want that, and I'll survive life. It was my safety net. The most powerful emotion was going to keep me together. Love would keep us together, whatever that meant. I wasn't sure when, but one day, I knew I would meet the girl of my dreams, and we got married. And of course, she'd be pretty, we'd have children, and we'd be together forever. So one day she came along, pretty, laughed at all my jokes, checked off all the boxes for me. She was love. She was my future. We got married. We were blessed with 3 beautiful children. Then one day she decided to devote herself to someone else. She blindsided me. She betrayed me. And I never saw it coming. I was devastated. The girl who I had planned to grow old with didn't love me anymore. My parents and siblings didn't support me. I don't think they knew how. They made me feel it was my fault. So therefore, it must have been my fault. Overall, my feelings were hurt. I was a broken man. I was now alone, and I felt alone. It was the darkest point of my life. I was now on my own, and it was such a foreign feeling to me. It scared me. I would move on eventually. I became engaged to someone I met in a support group. I guess it was a rebound. I don't know. All I know is that after a period of time, I left her because I didn't trust her. And I was afraid of getting hurt. So I left her, yet I loved her. Again, I was alone, this time by my own hands. I wanted love, I wanted a relationship. Again, as time went on, I wanted to feel good about myself. So I eventually remarried. I was with a lovely lady for many years, 15 years. Guess I'm sounding pretty old, but I'm not. Feeling a bit old. Bottom line is that it didn't last. I walked away from it a few years ago. I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel loved. Again, I was alone. So when you summarize that, I've had failed marriages and relationships. So I've been questioning who I am and what do I have to offer to another woman? How can I learn from this? How can I become a better man? A couple of years ago, I shared my story with a film colleague of mine. We were discussing people's lives and storylines, etc. I spoke to him about my relationships and my need for intimacy and a real connection. So my question to him was, what are your thoughts? What are your perceptions on what I've told you? His response, Birnie, you've had what, 2 marriages? Been engaged once? And you've blown them. What makes you think you deserve another chance? What makes you think you deserve love? He was being objective. But my feelings were like, I had to turn away. Tears filled up my eyes. I thought, I was frightened. I was mad. How could you? Like, what are you talking about? I don't deserve love. In any case, it was an observation, his observation, a comment that stunned me, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I'm still thinking about it. I second-guess myself all the time because of that. Was it true? Was I unlovable? Had I become unlovable? Had I blown my chance at this, my opportunity at this? One of my kids once told me that I loved too hard. What does that mean? It was around that time that I felt people treating me differently, the way they looked at me. You know, when it came to my need for love or talk about romance, that type of thing, the vibe that I felt around me was like I was being dismissed. You're older now. You fucked up. You don't need it. You don't deserve it. This part of your life is over. Well, I got news for you. I have got news for you. I'll always acknowledge how I feel. And I'll always listen to my inner voice. But my need for intimacy and connection is a long way from over, and I deserve it. I know I deserve it. But for now, I feel alone. I am alone. And if you haven't guessed it, I fear being alone. It scares the hell out of me. I think it's fair to say that I understand loneliness and the pain associated with it. Let me just throw out there's nothing wrong with being alone. Nothing at all. It's just not for me. So what does loneliness or lonely look like? And why do I need companionship? Loneliness to me is cold, it's dark, it's painfully quiet. It's a feeling of finality. It's a sense of inadequacy. It's an endless search for affirmation. It's working hard to be positive. It's making difficult decisions on your own. It's needing someone to touch you. It's having no one to wake up to or to say goodnight to. It's going home tonight and not being able to share what I experienced here tonight. What am I experiencing here tonight? In one word, it's sad. For example, walking home the other night in the rain, I had a song running through my head. It's called Laughter in the Rain. And all I could think of was how sad I felt at that point, and how I wished I had someone to laugh with. Because when you're walking hand in hand with the one you love, really, who cares about the rain? So why do I need companionship? First of all, I deserve it. I'm looking for that connection, a real connection between two people. I have an overwhelming urge to share who I am. Life is beautiful, and I want to share it. The good and the bad. A couple of stories that happened to me over the last couple of years. Might point out what I'm talking about a little bit. I was out in my car one day and I turned left when I should have turned right. And I came within seconds of being in a head-on collision, and I know I would have been killed. I was by myself. I was shaking. I got home to my empty house. I continued to shake until I picked up that phone to call somebody. I was just scared. I had nobody there to say, I'm glad you're alive. And there was another time, I was watching a movie by myself, and it was about a boy who unfortunately, a young boy that was dying. And I was watching it. I'm a sensitive guy. Tears came, and I was crying, and I cried by myself. Nobody else there. I wasn't ashamed, but I wish I had someone to share that deep emotion with. I actually wanted to be hugged. So you may ask yourself by now, so what have you done to escape this loneliness? What have you done to put yourself out there? Well, a year and a half ago, I moved here from Winnipeg to Vancouver to pursue my passion for acting. I left behind 3 grown children and 6 grandchildren to continue my journey here. In essence, I was creating another level of loneliness, but I've missed them. But I needed more in life, and this was part of my journey. I fully immersed myself in the film industry. I'm part of an amazing fitness movement called the November Project. I run regularly with the running room. I've dated a fair bit. Anybody ever heard of speed dating? I've done it. Ooh. I'm a risk taker, and as I say, I'm doing it. I have met some wonderful people, but I still have that lingering feeling of being alone, being lonely. I was walking through Stanley Park the other day, lost in my thoughts, surrounded by beautiful scenery, and wishing I had somebody by my side. Just somebody who I could play in the leaves with. I know enough about life to know that time is slipping by. I'm tired of being alone. I want companionship. I want love. I want love. I want to share myself and bring balance to my life. I want a chance to look inside somebody's heart and tell them, you look beautiful in that dress. I'm sorry. You're a good mother. You made me smile today. I'll always be there for you. And I want somebody to to be able to say to me maybe one day, you're going to be okay. I love who you are. I'll always have your back. And you are an amazing person. Or even, what the hell are you doing? At this point, you might say to yourself, it sounds like I'm looking for a date. Hardly. I'm not. I'm not looking for a date. I'm looking for a life where I can regain the essence of who I am. Having said that, I'm looking for a Sunday kind of love every day of the week. So I don't know how I got here. All I know is I'm here. Tonight is the apex of my journey. My future, my destiny, and my fate await. In closing, I don't want to be alone. I want to love and be loved. And to borrow some lyrics from a song, I'll pray and I'll wait, and I pray it's not too late. For tonight, I am alone. Thank you.
Great. Birnie McIntosh, everyone.